I just had to tell you, when I was lost, I found you as a refuge. So let me in, cause I just wanna be close to you. Today is the day, so leave it up, up and away. Fly high on the road that you have made, and I will praise your name. Be holy, shari today. Fish swim, birds fly, days do, night sky, rain soaks, sun dries, I call, you reply, I just need to know just what makes you glow. שאין לך אדם שאין לו שם, אין לך דבר שאין לו מקום. ואני מאמין, I really do believe that everybody's got some שאין לך אדם שאין לו שעה, ואין לך דבר שאין לו מקום. ואני מאמין, I really do believe that everybody's got something שאין לך אדם שאין לו שעה, ואין לך דבר שאין לו מקום. I really do believe that everybody's got something to show.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're glad to see you here with us on Zoom or on Facebook Live or on our live stream, wherever you are. I hope you had a good week and are getting ready for Passover. Today, as we get ready to celebrate Shabbat Tzav, I get to ask you, what is it that gets you fired up? I don't mean what gets you upset or agitated, but fueled with passion and energy, ready to move forward with a project or an assignment or even a dream. In this week's Torah portion, Tzav, we are told that the priests must make sure to attend the fire on the altar. It is to be a ner tamid, an eternal light, as we read in chapter 6, verse 5 of Leviticus. The fire on the altar shall be kept burning on it, not to go out. Every morning the priest shall feed it wood, lay out the burnt offering. The responsibility is huge and strenuous to keep that fire stoked, keeping watch over the night. This is one of the most essential tasks of the priestly class. But Rabbi Alexander Z. Friedman sees this responsibility not just as a physical obligation, but rather as a commandment of intention and rejuvenation. As he teaches, typically we read the phrase, tu kad bo, as a fire shall be kept burning on it, as a requirement to stoke the physical flame on the altar. Yet the Hebrew word bo doesn't have to mean on, it can also mean within. Hence the verse may be understood to mean the fire of the altar shall be kept burning within him. So that is, the zeal of sacrifice is to be kept burning within the priest to whom the command is addressed. And this reminds us that the work we do, the responsibilities we bear are great and important and often very tiring. But it is our sacred tasks that require us that we keep our intentions in focus, that we find ways to stoke the flame of purpose and passion in our lives. So as we make ready to celebrate Shabbat and Passover too, take a deep cleansing breath and consider how you keep the flame burning inside of you. And then as peace descends and we get ready to take our Sabbath rest, may we find time and use our time together as the billow that stokes the eternal flame we each have within. Talking of fire and flame, we are going to get ready to sing with passion and zest before we light our Shabbos candles. Join Kendra Berlin. We turn now in our Sidurim to page 3. If you haven't seen it yet, there's a link in the chat as well as in the comments on Facebook. And it's my pleasure to invite Mina Lopez to unmute herself and lead us in the Maseh. Mina, you're muted, so you're going to have to unmute yourself.
All right, there you go. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Please join me in Kiddush on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron le'maseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim.
We turn now to page 12 as we welcome Shabbat with song from the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat, L'chuna Ranana, from Psalm 95.
turn to page 22 at the top of the page for Mizmor Shir. Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Tov lehodot l'Adonai Uzamer l'shimcha elyon Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon L'agid b'boker b'boker chastecha emunatcha b'leilot L'agid b'boker b'boker chastecha emunatcha b'leilot Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Tov lehodot l'Adonai Uzamer l'shimcha elyon Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon L'agid b'boker b'boker chastecha emunatcha b'leilot L'agid b'boker b'boker chastecha emunatcha b'leilot Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat Tov lehodot l'Adonai Tov lehodot l'Adonai Uzamer l'shimcha elyon Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon.
Turn back to page 20 now so that we can join together singing Lecha Dodi. We sing verses 1 and 2, 5 and 9, and when we reach verse 9, B'Oiv V'Shalom, we rise together as a community, whether it's physically or spiritually, each of us in our own Mikdash Ma'at, our own personal sacred sanctuary space that we have created over these many months. After we're done singing, we'll take just a few moments to turn on our videos and turn off our mute so that we can greet each all together. Join with us and sing.
Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Yishmi'anu Am Yuchad Adonai Echad Shemo Echad V'Shemo Tiferat L'Tila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nacha Ki mekor ha'beracha Merosh nikerem nesucha Sof ma'aseh v'machshavat ila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela Hit'oreri, hit'oreri, hivarech kol mi'ori, uri uri, shedaberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla lecha dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha
We invite you to turn on your cameras if you haven't for just a few moments and unmute yourself so we can all wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Hey.
Chag Sameach.
Yes, yes.
Chag Sameach. We will continue our service on page 26 with Chatzi Kaddish. I invite you to remain standing or stand up again through the Shema.
Yitkara Shemei Rab Amen. Belma divrach rotei v'yamich malchutei. B'chai echon uvyom echon. Uv'chayed echo Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala. Uv'yizman kariv. V'yimeru. Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba mevorach. Ve'olam olam me'amaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach. V'yitbar v'yitjoma v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale. V'yitala shemei l'kodesha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Taniran be'ama v'yimeru. Amen.
We continue together in the Hebrew with Ma'ariv Arvim on page 30. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro Ma'ariv Aravim, bechokma potach sha'arim, uvitvuna mishanei itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakira kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Ma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid imloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. On page 33 at the top. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Please join me in the Haftarah on page 36. V'ahavta בכל לבבך וכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
Emet. We turn now to page 39 at the bottom. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
God wrong from right. Amen. Amen.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Let us take a moment to reflect on this during Shabbat as we rejoice in the Shabbat that we have, bringing us peace and strength, with Vishamru on the top of page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We rise for the Amidah on page 46.
Adonai, שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. אדוני, שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה כל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומותיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מחמוך בעל גבורות, ומדור מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated if you're standing. And we turn to page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch Ata Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. On the bottom of page 57, we continue together. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find you strength for your service. Baruch ata Adonai she'otacha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. On the top of page 59, our prayer of thanksgiving, Hoda'ah. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us, so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch ata Adonai hatov shincha ulecha na'eh lechotot. And on page 61, we share in Birkat Shalom, our prayer for peace, reading together. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael. Shalom. And so at this moment, we, with prayers of peace on our minds and in our hearts, we extend those prayers of peace to those who face the future not fully whole. As we bring their names up onto our share screen, the members of our community in need of healing, we add to their names those who are in our hearts, those around the world, suffering still from our pandemic. So many of us dealing with anxiety and stress beyond the norm as we pass a year, the marker of a year of living in this COVID pandemic together. But still, we find strength from each other, and so we offer prayers together for healing. Think of those who are in your life in need of healing, as Kendra Berlin leads us in the Misha Berach.
ישלח להם מהרה רפואה, רפואה שלמה. הוא ישלח להם מהרה רפואה, רפואה שלמה. El Please take a moment for your own silent prayers. Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru imru, amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru imru, amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen, amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru imru, amen.
Amen. There has been so much going on in the world again lately. While we feel like maybe the pandemic is starting to come to a close as more and more people get vaccinated and things start to open up more, we are also reminded of the oppression, racism, and hate towards those in our community, locally and nationally. We are reminded of this not only by our current events, but by the story of the Exodus, which we highlight during Passover. We were slaves and we came out of Egypt. We know what it is like to be oppressed, treated poorly, stereotyped, hated, scapegoated. It is imperative that we don't perpetuate those negative feelings and traits, not just in the wider world, but also in our own Jewish communities. I want to share with you a story to remind us of this. Is it backwards or is it okay? I hope it's okay. Is it okay? Okay, good. All right. This book is called Chicken Soup, Chicken Soup. The beauty of Zoom is you can actually see the pictures. Rather, if I was on the Bima, you wouldn't be able to see them. 2 grandmas, 2 soup pots, 2 family traditions, 2 recipes for chicken soup? Uh-oh. How could a little piece of dough stuffed with meat and floating in a bowl of chicken soup cause a problem? Kreplach? Wontons. It started one rainy afternoon when I went to my bubby's, my grandma Ellie's, for lunch. Sophie, darling, here's a nice bowl of hot chicken soup for you. I picked up my spoon and smiled when I saw the dumpling in my soup. Yum! Wonton, my favorite. Wonton? Who's a wonton? Bubby asked. Silly Bubby, in the soup. Sophie, my Zisela, my sweet one, those are kreplach, not wontons. This is Jewish chicken soup, which I make for you just the way my Bubby made it for me. Now eat, it's delicious. For the rest of the afternoon, we played dress up and had a wonderful time. But when Mommy came to pick me up, I heard Bubby muttering about a granddaughter who didn't know the difference between kreplach and wontons. A few days later, I went to my Nene's, my Grandma Nancy's, for lunch. Here you are, Sophie. Good hot soup, Nene said. Kreplach, I said. I love kreplach. What's kreplach? Nene asked. Silly Nene, in the soup. Sophie, my Bobo, my baby, my treasure. This is Chinese chicken soup with wonton. I make it for you just the way my Nene made it for me. Now eat and grow strong. For the rest of the afternoon, Nene and I had fun painting pictures. But when Daddy came to pick me up, I heard her talking to him about a granddaughter who didn't know the difference between wontons and kreplach. I knew the difference between soup with kreplach and soup with wontons. I just accidentally messed them up. Bubby's chicken soup had carrots and parsley. Nene's chicken soup had bamboo shoots and green onions. Wontons are not kreplach. Kreplach are not wontons. A little different, a lot the same, and I could prove it. When I told Mommy and Daddy about my idea, they liked it. So the next week, I invited Bubby and Nene to our house for lunch. I asked each of them to bring their soup. Soon, Bubby's chicken soup with kreplach simmered on the stove next to Nene's chicken soup with wontons. Your soup smells very good, Nancy, Bubby said. Yours too, Ellie, Nene said. I took a big serving bowl out of the drawer. Daddy helped me pour in both soups until the two were mixed together. Presenting the first ever Jewish Chinese kreplach wonton chicken soup, I said. Mommy ladled the new soup into bowls and we all sat down at the table. You know, Bubby said, to be completely honest, my chicken soup isn't exactly the way my Bubby made it. I buy wonton wrappers to make my kreplach. So your Jewish chicken soup is a little bit Chinese? I asked. Bubby nodded. That's right. I have something to say too, Nene said. I buy the chicken for my soup at the kosher market. The flavor is better. So your Chinese chicken soup is a little bit Jewish? I asked. Yes, it is, Nene said. A little Jewish, a little Chinese, a lot like me, I said. Sophie Chang, you're a genius, Bubby said. I've always thought so, Nene agreed. Kreplach schmecklach, let's eat, Bubby said. Wait a minute, don't you mean wonton schmonton? Nene asked. I laughed and dipped my spoon into my bowl. A bite of kreplach, a taste of wontons. I said. Mommy, Daddy, Bubby, and Nene all started eating. A wonderful blend, Bubby said. The best of both, said Nene, just like our granddaughter. Suddenly, I knew what made Bubby and Nene's soup so much alike. The special ingredient in every bowl of any grandma's soup is love. Save room, everybody, Bubby said. I made knishes. And I brought egg roll, Nene said. Are we talking dough filled with vegetables, then fried? Bubby asked. Precisely, Nene said. I couldn't wait to taste my first egg nish, or kneg roll. I knew it would be delicious. This story reminds us that we can be who we are, a little bit of different cultures, backgrounds, traditions, and races. As the Jewish community, we are not homogeneous. We have a little bit of everything. This is something to be celebrated. As we join together celebrating Passover beginning tomorrow night, let us remember to do just this. We celebrate our freedom as Jews and recognize all of the different traditions that can be present in a Passover Seder. We rejoice in those differences and the ability for us to appreciate our remembrance of the Exodus from Egypt. We delight in the various backgrounds, races, traditions, and more that join us in our community at Seder, services, and anywhere that we are together. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with the concluding section of our worship. Aleinu can be found on page 283, and if you are able, I invite you to please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שמחנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. As we turn to page 289 for our memorial meditation, we note with sadness the death of Dr. Elliot Wesser, husband of Marcia Gorin Wesser, father of Stephen Wesser, and stepfather of Sarah Salone and Robert Ellman, and Leah Salone and David Stream, grandfather of Marcus Stream, Sophie Ellman, and Kayla Eden Stream, and numerous cousins. A private burial will be held at the Temple High Cemetery within Mission Park North off Interstate 10, on Monday, March 29th. A celebration of his life will be held at a later date via Zoom. Page 289. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down in gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen, yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. Our thoughts turn now to those in our community who have died at this time in years past. As we mark their yard sites, we remember them. Jack Alter, Leora Timon Arbetter, Julian Aronson, Jefferson Bell, Maurice Braha, June Britton, Bob Brook, Fanny Brooks, Charles Chuck Cook, Ernestine Cooper, Margaret Herman Cooper, Dr. Bernard Crane, Hector Curiel, Harold Danielson, Frank Lipper Dover, Mary Edwards, Dr. Carlos Eric, Jason M. Heine Felder, Frederica Feldman, Bobby Felker, Dina Fisher, Faye Betty Forland, Selma Friedman, Milton Arthur Frost Jr., Marcus Gorin, Darlene Gregory, Marjorie Pepper Halstead, Julius Hines, Michael Edwin Kahn, Miriam Rabinowitz Kalmans, Miriam Kalmans, Dorothy Kaufman, Walter Koenig, Ida Kovacs, Fanny Lieb Creeder, Quentin Lamb, Lyda Vexler Landy, Jean Leff, Hortense Horty Lyman Fine, Jean Lang Matthews, Gerald Mazur, Carol McBride, Darren Mensch, George Newmark, Jeff D. Nordhaus, Martine Roslin, Meyer Rosenman, Forrest Paul Rosette, Anna Rubenstein, Sherry Sherman, Arnold Wagner, Dorothy Wesser, and Max Yaffe. We also think of those who died this past month, whose families are in a mourning period of Shloshim. We remember Dorothy Miller, Alan Brightman, and Edward H. Robinson. We also think of two who've died this past week, whose families are in a mourning period of Shiva. We remember Gerald Hirsch, grandfather of Merrill and Neely Kasanoff. Evan Manuel Hirsch, father of Darren and Sarah Hirsch, Mark and Jennifer Hirsch, Carolyn and Chris Cohnhorst, and grandfather of Lauren and Emily Hirsch, David and Sam Hirsch, Robin and Rachel Cohnhurst. With all of these names and those which are in our hearts each and every day, we join together as a community on page 294, rising together as we say Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayed chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mvarach le'olam umei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela mikol berchata v'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechamata, Amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. You may be seated. It is my honor to invite Dr. Amy Benedict, the president of our Board of Trustees, to unmute herself to deliver tonight's announcements.
I'm sorry, it was saying that the host will not unmute me.
I got
I was
you.
getting a little concerned.
You're
Okay.
good. I got you.
You got my back. I like that. Okay. Well, I am thrilled to share with all of you that you will be getting an email on Monday telling you that we are going to resume in-person Shabbat services in the sanctuary beginning on Friday, April 2nd. We're going to stop actually Zooming for services, but other April and May classes and programs will continue on Zoom, but just not for the services. All the other social media platforms can be utilized during services. We're going, and this will all come in an email, so you don't have to remember anything I say. We're going to encourage that anyone over the age of 65 and those with any risk factors for severe disease to come only if you're fully vaccinated. Masks will be required and temperatures will be checked upon entry. Worshipers are going to be distanced, so you should feel safe when you're there. You're going to have prayer books that are available, or you can also download a Kindle version of the prayer book on your mobile device. Just to let everyone know, there will be no Oneg Shabbat, so no food served, no reason for you to have to take your mask off. Let's see what else. You will not be able to have babysitting until further notice. We're not going to provide those services right now. Service, we're asking you as a service participant to not sing. It's hard to remember not to, but it's really important because we don't want any, if you have any viral particles, we don't want them dispersed by singing. So the only people singing will be the clergy. So we're really excited. This is going to start, as I said, the first weekend in April for Friday night services. It might take us a little longer to get everyone seated and checked in, but we're really looking forward to this. So look out for your email, which should come early this week. Chag Sameach to everyone. Passover, as you know, begins tomorrow evening. The services for the first day of Passover will be held on March 28th at 10:30 in the morning. And then we have our community Seder, which is going to take place on this Sunday, March 28th at 6 p.m. Make sure to register. You can look at the email that you received yesterday. And as always, everything's listed on that email that you can click onto and sign up for. The festival services for the last day of Passover will be on Saturday, April 3rd, also at 10:30 in the morning. There'll be a morning service, and there'll be a Yizkor memorial service at that time. On Saturday, April 3rd at 4 o'clock, young families with children, very young children from 1 to 8, are invited to join us for Peace Out Passover and Shabbat with Havdalah. They're going to hear a story and do more fun things. And again, if you look on the email, you'll see that registration is required for that also. So Chag Sameach, Shabbat Shalom, have a wonderful, safe, happy, healthy Passover. And I wish you all a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Amy. I just want to also clarify that next Saturday, which is Shabbat and 7th day Pesach, will actually be at Temple. That will be in person and not Zoom, but live streamed. Okay. Our closing song is Ein Kelohenu on page 322.
Ein Kelohenu, ein Kodonenu, ein Kemokeinu, ein Kemoshienu, Michelohenu, Michodonenu, Michemokeinu, Michemoshienu, Nod Eloheinu, Nod Elodonenu, Nod Elemokeinu, Nod Elemoshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Tahu Adonenu, Tahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Chag Sameach.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Zisen Pesach.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hannah.
Shalom. Shalom, everyone.
Good to see all of you.
Phil.
Have a good week.
Hey,
Chag
Phil.
Sameach.
Chag
Hey,
Sameach.
how are you?